What's up everybody, Gundam Flexing here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the just completed Master Grade RB-79K Ball from the 08 MS team. Now before we go into the kit itself, I would first like to go over the decal sheets and then the extra pieces. So coming up first is the two decal sheets. One of them is a dry decal, right here. So it's numerated, you get numeration in pairs on the top. You get the red decals, and you also get small numerations, so the RB-79K. For this specific kit, I only used two decals, and they are the biggest ones. They are located in the front and the rear, and they are both identical to each other. They are the EFSF decals. On the second decal sheet, and this is a sticker decal, you see I used not as much, right? Everything that you see that's gone from this sticker sheet actually isn't on the outside. They're actually on the inner frame of the ball, which is pretty interesting. But this is how many you get and all the options. Now for the extra pieces, I'd like to go over the ones in the runner first. Coming up first is the C runner. Here is an extra piece. Now you don't have to worry about this piece. It is indicated in the instruction sheet. There is no interchangeability in regards to this piece. You also have two little pilots right here that I still kept in the runner because I didn't find any use for them outside the runner. Here they are. For the second runner, now this is the railing system right here where my thumb is at, and right here. This is interchangeable with the third railing system on its forehead. Pretty much you have the options of using a normal standardized railing system or something that is a little bit more detailed in regards to like a gripping bar. But the third one is the most detailed in my opinion, and it's the one with 4 transparent pieces that makes it look like headlights as such on the box art. And the last additional runner is two little nubs right here and here that can be placed in his claw system. So if you didn't want to use his claw system, you're able to just take him out and give him little nubs. Also, I decided to use the cable system retracted in its ball already. If you wanted to have it extracted, or I guess lengthened, you would just use this piece, which I kept in the runner. I felt that if I was to use this piece, it would just make the kit look too busy. So I kept that one in the runner. And by accident, when I was going over the instructions, I did cut out a few additional pieces I didn't mean to. We have a pair of orange pieces here, and they actually go onto the side of the cockpit right here where my thumbs are at. And that's if you want to use the railing system. So if you do not want to use the railing system or the headlights or whatever, you're able to just use these pieces and just make it a smooth surface. The other system is pretty much underneath his grappling hook system. I found that these pieces were a little bit unsecure. They do fall out quite simple. They do fall out very easily, so I didn't include them, but these are all these pieces, right? You got the grappling hook right here, the end of it, and then you extend it right here. And how that would look like in the instruction sheet is like this right here. So the grappling hook goes underneath the cable system. This was just too unsecure and fell out too easily. Had I known that this is an option, I would have not cut them out of the runners. And it was just the extended cable right here. This pretty much interchangeable with this or the retracted. I obviously went with the one that is retracted. And one thing about the runners I'd like to note is the F runner right here. Now this is something I've never encountered before, and I hope that Bandai does this a little more often in the future. I know this kit is from 2005, so who knows, they probably did it to quite a few master grades. This runner is actually rubber, and it's for the majority of the joint system. I think this is very innovative. The way the pieces fit into the rubber is just phenomenal. It does give a little bit of wiggle room, but not so much because again, it is rubber. It will expand it on the piece. In reality, it just makes the joint system so secure. Again, this is a really cool concept, and this is the only rubber runner that I've ever encountered. I hope they do more of this in the future. Now finally, looking at the model itself, I would like to use the model and pretty much split up the review in three categories. You have the weapon system, which I'm about to dismount very easily. You have the main body, which is just the ball. And then you have the claw system right here, which is also very easy to disconnect. So looking at the weapon system, you have two choices. You have the 180mm cannon, or you have like the sentry turret double cannon right here. If you put on the cannon, it's very simple. The cannon piece itself is very simplistic too. Pretty much you just get the one hook piece right here. This circular cannon is actually a single piece, which is pretty cool. And then you just slap it on the side pieces and a top piece and you pretty much got it. This is how high he can aim it. It does go 360 all around, and this is how low he can aim it. And the only thing that would really obstruct the forward movement would be the claws if you were having them pointed up. And just looking at the ball with his double system right here, oh, my bad. Put it a little bit too high. And here it goes. Put it in. Very simple. Two-way movement as such. And again, 360. Now this system comprises of quite a few pieces. And unlike the 180mm cannon, the system at the front, the barrels, are actually two separate pieces. Which sort of sucks because I would like to have more pieces like the barrel that just comes in a single piece. But this one isn't bad either. You got the barrels here and the shaft, and again these are two pieces, and you just attach on a couple more pieces and include it in the center piece, and that's it. Very simplistic. Yeah. Now for the main body of the ball, again we covered here is the railing system. It's pretty detailed. You have like 4 transparent pieces right here, which makes it looks like pretty neat headlights. His little cockpit door can open, and the cockpit itself is actually quite detailed. I just want to see if I could get some lighting all up in there, right up in here, as such. So inside is actually a pilot right there. If I could get more light on it. Alright, there inside is the pilot, and you do actually make the cockpit system itself, so he does have handles, which I thought was pretty interesting, very detailed. The glass is a little bit lime green, but it is transparent, and it is very easy to put in. All you do is you just slide it in at the very top, as such. And unfortunately, what you don't see in my hand is the inner frame for the ball system. And that's quite interesting because even though you have a cover, the inside is just as detailed as the outside, and it just gives the builder a lot of posability on how you want to frame the situation. And again, like I mentioned with the decal sheets, that you actually put decals on the inside even though you cover it with the orange pieces around. The top of his head has like 4 mini thrusters that are movable, so you could go up and down as such, like this. It's pretty interesting. This on the sides, you also have more green transparent pieces here and right here. Now when assembling the ball, after you make the frame, attaching the orange pieces to the inside can get a little bit tricky. If you don't shave any additional piece, it will show, like you will have cracks that are very, very noticeable, and the pieces will not fit in correctly. So this is just a warning. If you were to build this, make sure that when you put the pieces into the inner frame, that it's smooth all the way around, no nub marks left over whatsoever. And here is the grappling system. Again, I have the one that's retracted here, and at the bottom where you see the hole, and that's where you could add the grappling hook. Again, to me that wasn't secure enough, and I definitely decided not to add that. Here is the backpack right here, or the little 2 main thrusters with movable thrusters right here, and the EFSF decal sheet applied right here per the instructions. You also have one more thruster right here, and this is interesting. The thruster here is actually attached to a rubber piece, so is a little bit maneuverable. So you do have like a little bit of wiggle space. It's not so like just obstructed, right? You could just definitely move it, which I thought was a pretty cool feature. Now looking at his claw system, what I really found cool was the you get a metal piece here, dual metal pieces, 2 metal pieces as such here. Now they don't actually do anything, like they're just for looks. And here is the main system right here, and you are able to extend the claw in and out, which I thought was a really cool feature right there. And if I were to take one out, here where it connects to the claw itself, at least to the arm, is actually again a rubber piece. Here, this is the inside. Now this is actually a rubber piece, and I want to extend it out. Here we go. So if you wanted to, because this is a rubber piece and the inside is elongated, you're able to sort of pull it out as far as you like, but it will not be stable. So you put it back in, and it is a rubber piece, and you're still able to move it around, something like excuse me, something like a robotic movement, which I thought was pretty cool. And again, metal piece doesn't do anything, and you pretty much have 3 claws, right? At least 3 finger claws. Here's a small one at the bottom. You can move up and down, and it's by itself, it could also move around like such. Now you can move the whole arm as a system to move all the way around. It is a little stiff because it is rubber, but that's a good thing because you do want it to be stable. And here you're able to open and close the claws in by itself as such. And at the top you got 2 finger claws that do move such, and able to turn all the way around. And this is another cool detail right here. Now you got 2 wirings at the top, and they all are from the same wiring. And per the instruction sheet, they actually measured it out. So when you take it out from the bag, it actually measures out how much you should be able to take. And it shows you where to cut it. Where did it go? All right, here. So it does tell you you have to cut this much length. And let me tell you that this part here for me was the most difficult portion. Tying the knot wasn't hard. It was trying to thread it through the small hole. So whenever you do cut this, you cut the red wires, make sure to cut it at an angle. You want to cut it at an angle, preferably leaving the tip very, very, very sharp, so that way you're able to thread it through up and then thread it through back down. When I cut it, it was actually flat, and I couldn't figure out why. I just could not thread it through. It took me quite a significant amount of time, that I like to admit, but at the end it did turn out well, and it is a cool feature. Again, the claw system. I really enjoy this metal pipe. It doesn't really add anything, but it just makes it look really cool. And then finally, you have the stand. Now this stand comes in its own single runner, and as described in the speed build video, I did decide to build this first simply because I wanted a runner just off my table. Construction wise, it was really easy. The assembly here for the pillars itself is pretty much 4 pieces. 1 on each side, 1 on each side. Now when you actually put them together, now this is a little bit difficult. You're supposed to put it through at an angle and then push it back down onto the base and secure it. And you'll know it's secure because the opposite ends will show you, and here you can see if all the pieces inside are even. But you'll know that the top part is uneven because if you put it in wrong, it'll protrude like a tree, and it just looks totally awkward and incredibly uneven. There. So overall, this ball is pretty detailed. It is a master grade, so you would expect such level as such. Again, I really like the thruster at the bottom. It is rubber. Here again is the rubber runner. I think we should have more rubber runners, especially for the joint system, or at least for some sort of like thrusters. It worked out perfectly. And here is the other thrusters that do not have the rubber piece right here. And overall, again, this is a very enjoyable kit. This is kit you could probably get for like $20 to $25. Not bad. Incredibly detailed. And again, you want to be careful when assembling the shell of the ball, because if you're not too careful, you could always see if it doesn't fit correctly. You could see small cracks into the system, and that just makes it look tacky. And when I was assembling it and disassembling it, the sides just would not fit in 100%. And it took me a while to find out that just some of the pieces were just way too big, and I had to shave it off, especially the nub marks. So you want to keep an eye out on that. You get 2 weapon systems, essentially 3 if you include the grappling hook. Overall, it's not bad. Looks like a Pokeball now. Anyway guys, that's all I have to say about this kit in the moment. If you have any questions and comments, please post them down in the section below. I always appreciate you all for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.